All right, before we get into it today, just need to shout out tattooflashcollective.com. If you need any kind of artwork, whether you have a tattoo shop and you need tattoo flash, or you just need some artwork, some posters or prints for your house, your apartment, your cubicle, your garage, your man cave, your she shack, whatever, wherever you need something to spice the walls up, go to tattooflashcollective.com. If you use the promo code Big Truth at checkout, you get 10% off your order. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get even more off your order. What is Patreon? Patreon is a way for you, the listener, to help the show financially, right? It's a way for you to show support and rep for the show. You go to patreon.com/bigtruth. Again, patreon.com/bigtruth. And there's different levels of patronage, everything from free to producer level. And they all come with their own exclusive benefits. All the paid subscribers get early access to shows. I do some giveaways that are only for Patreon subscribers, some content that's only for Patreon subscribers, paid subscribers. And so check it out, patreon.com/bigtruth. For more information on the podcast itself, go to bigtruthpodcast.com, hit the store link, and you can get some show swag. If you are in New England, stop by my shop, my motorcycle shop, Chopperhead Custom Cycles, located at 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. We're a full brick and mortar motorcycle shop. What does that mean? That means you come in, we got a parts counter, we got a showroom, we got a merch area with swag, riding apparel and whatnot. And then in the back, it's a full service motorcycle shop. So whether you need an oil change or a custom motorcycle built, anything in between, we handle it. We got you covered. You need an exhaust, you need performance work, you just got, something's going on, you need some repair. Anything you need, we got you for Harley Davidson any year. All right. If you are not in New England and you want to support, you can go to chopperhead.com, and there's some parts and stuff on there. If there's something you need and you don't see it, just shoot us an email or give us a call. We can get it for you. We're hooked up with everybody. We're linked up with pretty much any parts distributor and supplier. Or you can just order some shop swag, some T-shirts, hoodies, beanies are back in stock. We're getting in that cold weather. It turned October 4th. It turned October 1st, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees literally overnight out here anyway. So hit us up over at chophead.com or 508-995-6764. BigTruthPodcast.com for the show. And that's about it, man. This is my boy Stu's coming on from the band Spirit World, which is, you've heard me ranting and raving about them. It's one of the only newer bands, and they're not even new anymore. They've been around for years, but one of the newer bands that I completely fucking sweat. So keep it locked. This is a good one.
The Big Truth Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready!
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. And I'm stoked to have my man Stu from a band called Spirit World with me today. And you've heard me rant and rave and fawn out over this band over the last couple of years. I don't like a lot of new stuff, but this stuff to me hits hard. So I'm stoked as a fan just to have you on today, man. I don't say that about much. So Stu, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you guys have been you've had a crazy ardent touring schedule. You guys have been making massive moves, and I know you had gallbladder surgery and this and that. I know that's not easy, dude, especially being vocalist in an extreme type of band. But what's happening, dude?
Yeah, thanks for the kind words. Thanks for having me. Yeah. Not much, man. We're chilling. We're home for a bit. We just went out and did a couple shows with Carcass and did the Louder Than Life festival like a week ago. So everybody got together, hung out, played a couple shows, and yeah, just home, chilling, fucking decorating my house for Halloween. Hanging out, man, having a good time. My nephew's flying into town tomorrow. Got tickets, gonna go to the fights.
Nice.
He's in his super into MMA and UFC, which I followed like way back.
Yeah,
VHS tape, like probably from like the third or fourth UFC on, like all through Pride. So like fight sports, MMA, boxing is something like with the music thing too, is just one of the things that I just geek out about and follow. So I'm pretty stoked. Going to be a fun weekend.
yeah.
My buddy Khalil's fighting on the card. He's, a title contention fight. So be a good time, man.
Yeah,
got a cool weekend coming up.
Yeah, being in Vegas is a good place to be too if you want to go see things live, man. You get a lot of events there, a lot of good cards out there. You don't have to go to the pay-per-view. You can just go down the street.
Yeah, you can, man. It's expensive. Like these, I think, I forget what we paid, like maybe like $350 a ticket or something, which it's a good card, but I like the live fights. I've been to a bunch and it's cool, like the energy, and the UFC especially does a good job of like having videos and like the walkout music, and like they play the like sizzle reels before the fights and kill the lights. So it's cool, opposed to like a big boxing fight. Like it's just silent in the arena as far as the production.
Yeah.
And so like boxing, not as much anymore, but back when like HBO was popping and you had like Lampley and Larry Merchant, like the color guys were great.
Yeah.
Like I preferred watching it on TV than to pay the ticket price. And then you're just kind of in there and it's just silent, but the roar of the crowd,
Yeah. It definitely seems like, UFC and stuff has stepped up the production, and it keeps you entertained. So you go there, you're spending that money, but you're entertained the whole time. It's not like you said, where you're just sitting there waiting for the next, match to come up.
Yeah, and they stack the cards too, that was another thing. You pay 3 times as much to go to a boxing card back in the day as like an MMA fight, but there's really only one fight that's even competitive. The rest are just stacked with people they're developing, and they're just smashing tomato cans. So the UFC is cool. Like, and this, because since Broden's coming down here, my nephew, like that's my twin brother's kid, and he's a badass. So like he's like, I'm sure we'll be down there like watching the first fight at like 3 p.m. So we'll get like it's probably like a 10 fight card.
Yeah.
With like the main card is just dynamite with like killer fights. So like we're probably gonna be down there just like, I don't know, like a full shift, like an 8-9 hour shift of fights, it'll be tight.
Yeah. And then that's the other thing too. If you're spending that money, like you still, even though it's expensive to get in, like you said, you got 8-9 hours of entertainment, you know what I mean? And fights to watch. It's not like you're just watching 2 fights or something. It's not like watching Tyson in the 80s where you spend about $500 to go to the fight and it's 32 seconds long, and then you're like, all right, cool, adios.
Yeah. Sure. And my brother Nick that plays bass in Spirit World's coming too. So just be the 3 bros hanging out. So it'll be good quality time,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, so you guys have been touring pretty heavy, and I know I wanted to go see you guys when you played Worcester, but I don't know. It seems like things right now is like there'll be nothing happening for 3-4 weeks in a row, and then 5 things are always happening, and it's always the same day. And I was out of town. Every time you guys have played, I've been out of town. So I'll catch up with you sooner or later. And Connor will give me a heads up when you guys are coming around. But
I don't think we're doing Worcester this time. I think we're actually in Boston at that House of Blues.
Yeah, cool. It's a good venue. It's big. His sound is good.
I've never played there, so I saw. I think actually Connor brought it up when we were on this last little run, because I just assumed we were playing the Palladium again. He's like, "No, bro, it's fucking. You're in Boston, baby."
Yeah. You're right down in the thick of it.
My brother just moved out there to Amherst. He's works at the university.
Yeah,
and I guess it's like an hour from Worcester, maybe a couple hours from Boston or something. So.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours away.
Yeah,
so that's Western Mass. Yeah, that's more like he's closer to like Albany, upstate New York, than he is to us.
Yeah, I couldn't picture it. Like when he told me, I haven't looked at a map either, and I was like, "Fuck, man, I've never heard of that college."
Yeah,
and because he was at Iowa State.
Yeah,
and like I follow like UNLV college basketball and football pretty close, and I'm like, Amherst College, what the fuck is that? Like,
yeah, it's one of
usually,
the UMass, University of Massachusetts, the Amherst one. Yep.
yeah, and it's just one of them things that if it doesn't have sports, I'm not very
They
into
do, but I don't think they're like the division that you're watching. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
secondary.
exactly. So it should be cool. Like when we're out there, I think it's right around Thanksgiving. So he's looking for his house or like in an apartment. So gonna try and maybe we can swing by either coming or going and go check out Amherst and hang out with them.
Yeah.
I got another little nephew over there that he's got the jiu-jitsu bug. So he's been up there already choking out a bunch of mass holes, sending me videos. Pretty cool.
There you go. So the band, man, like I like I first heard it, and it was just one of those random things you can think, as I know as sucky as it is for artists, it came up randomly for years ago. Pagan Rhythms came up for me just on Spotify randomly, and I hadn't heard of you guys, and this is before Death Western came out and everything. So probably, the year that Pagan Rhythms came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is good, man. This is good. And then Death Western came out, and or the single, the Moonlit Torture single came out, and I was like, what the fuck? That song and Death Western to me, like, and I'm not saying I've said it on record to people, like those songs are like absolutely impeccable, 100% fucking solid fucking songs. And that album, Death Western's one of my top albums. And like I've explained it to people. I was like, imagine if like Integrity and Slayer went back in time to the Old West, raped a saloon whore in a brothel, and had a child. That child is Spirit World.
Yeah.
It's good. But I mean, I liked with Death Western, man. It seemed like it was cool that you also. One thing I wanted to ask you about was you had a book that accompanied it. Did you write the book first and then the music for the record? Because I know they were like kind of went hand in hand, or was it like, is it chicken or egg situation here?
It's all kind of like a big blur. It was like when it started, because I started writing that collection of short stories, and I was working on Pagan Rhythms at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And then because that story is continuing.
Yep.
It's just I've come to the realization that what was going to just be like a zine and me just writing some stuff with I don't know I guess it's just, I realize now that what I do, maybe it's because I'm like, I hyper fixate on the things I create, and it's important to me to like make shit really tight and good.
Yeah.
And I just kind of came to the conclusion that like the stuff that I'm doing there's nothing that I do that is like it all deserves like a big release. So like on the fiction side, like the short stories I wrote, I self-published them, and then like it went out of print, and then a publisher in LA did a really nice version of it that came out the same time as Death Western. And so the follow-up to that, like the fiction narrative story of this horror Western thing, is something I'm also working on too. So like all these things are just like one big creative outlet that I'm either in here writing, designing merch, designing fucking suits and like the stage stuff, or writing riffs. So I just kind of Spirit World, I set it up that way too, like because I played in a band, and you just kind of learn when you go through the ringer, if you're smart about putting your interests into something that can't have a ceiling on it, you can really kind of just get fucking as weird as you want, know? And that's something that's really appealing to me. And I just wanted to have something that I could I really respect people that have a lot of output and really are prolific. And I struggled with that real hard because, number one, when you're like in your early 20s and you don't know anybody and you don't know shit, like I've written so many songs that'll never see the light of day, put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I kind of came to the conclusion, like, I want to set up a project where on one hand, it's sort of a glorified solo project because I'm just sitting here, like, most of the time, one of my cats hangs out with me and shit, but like, it's just me. It's not like me and Matt or me and Nick or our drummer, anybody's hanging out. It's not like, I spend a lot of time alone doing this. And so I wanted to have a project where I could channel that shit. And then when I look back in 10 years, have a body of work that actually reflects, you know, what I'm doing, you know, that can grow and change. And like, as things hit and things become more interesting to me, it's cool to be able to like focus on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's rad. So do you have, so it sounds like, so you started writing a collection of stories. Did like, I guess like what I was asking too is like those stories and kind of informed what you were writing about music wise, but like when you were writing songs, did that also inform some of the stories? Like did they go hand in hand like that?
It's all completely incestuous. Like there's characters that like I wrote some of the songs on Death Western. There's, you know, some things that came out of a lyric that are now in the, like the follow-up to the fiction stuff. It looks like it'll probably be a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And so when that stuff finally comes out, and then when I put out this other book I'm working on at some point in the next 5 years or so, like people will go back and be able to connect the dots if they look, like ideas and things that it's hard to explain, but like it's all just one big concept thing. At least this right now that's corralled.
Yep.
At some point I'll step out of that, and I have a ton of stuff I want to do that's outside of this realm that I'll probably still do under Spirit World. That'll be, you know, where songs could be, you know, a little more autobiographical and, you know, things that are not rooted in this horror Western kind of concept.
Sure. So the stuff you're working on now, fiction wise, is it continuing the same story, like the horror Western stuff? It's continuing the same thing?
Yeah. So it's that story is ongoing, like through all these songs and through all this writing is like one big long saga. It's cool. And it sucks because that's the thing that it was easy with Pagan Rhythms because I wrote these short stories. I wrote that record. I did it all myself, paid for it. And it was like from starting it to having it out, less than probably 8 months, you know, start to finish. And now because like we just finished up our deal with Century Media, and since like July have the basic tenets of a new deal with the label done, and things are just going back and forth. And I'm like super pumped and happy about where things are landing. But the more people you involve and teams and things, it just, and just like I said with the book, it's like the first one did so well, and now I'm like, I can't just put it out as like a zine or like put it out as an email blast. It's like,
you stepped it up, and you gotta keep it. You gotta keep.
And it needs to be archived. And if it's gonna like that first fiction novel when it comes out, like it's a blessing and a curse. Like my name's out there enough that like it's got to be great, you know. And not only that, but the content's got to be good, but then the actual delivery and the marketing and everything has to be good. But then that means that, you know, you're fucking curating and working on these projects that now it spans several years between things, where for me, that's like, that's one of the balancing things that, you know, it's all good problems to have. But it's just something where you know, is trying to be a creative and just like do it because I like to do it. Knowing that things are like these new songs I'm working on right now. It's like, I would hope I could get them out next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if with everybody doing the right things, it's possible that it could make sense to do it. Who knows, end of next year, like second quarter of the following year. And that could just be reality. You know what I mean? Sure.
Yeah. There's like you said, there's a lot more people involved now. So it's not easy. It's not like you sitting at your place doing it like, all right, this is done. Let me just finance this and throw it out. Like, yeah, you got
Yeah.
labels, and they're going to be like, well, we really got this release first, so we're going to put this out next quarter, and we feel like it's going to do better than, thing. I get it. It's more of a business. You know what I mean? And
and then it's like the touring stuff too, right? It's like Eldorado, like, was received really, really well. Like, like did absolutely fantastic on like Liquid Metal, and like the best playlisting we've ever had on Spotify, where like even right now it's still like just pumping. And it's like the touring that you do on top of that, it's like, one, it's cool for us where it's like that. What did we do this year? Like we like went and did like a festival like on a boat thing, and it's like, okay, cool, like never done that, sick. A couple of our old ladies went, like it was badass. And then you follow that up, the record comes out, and you go out with like Obituary, Nails, Terror, long tour, like 5.5 weeks or something, and then just did some shit with Carcass, and then we got this other tour coming up, and like all of that is kind of part of that album. You know what I mean? It's it's not like just you know what I'm saying? Like just you put out new art, and then that comes with hundreds and hundreds of shows that are lined up around it because people fuck with what you're doing,
Yeah. Like you said, it's good problems to have. It's not it's a thing, you know what I mean? It's a good thing, but it's also like takes away probably, because like you said, you probably appreciate being able to have your time at your house to sit there and create and do the creative part of it, but you gotta do the other end too.
Like, we all work, and like Matt just had a kid, and like my brother's kids, like my niece, Brooklyn, like she's a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And like just all those things, it's like we're just like straight stand up working class dudes, where it's like this band shit is crazy. Like it's cool as fuck. But we'd be lying if we said it was remotely easy to balance the shit that Spirit World does with, and like I have a corporate day job, and moved to remote stuff, so like it got way more flexible. But like my brother, he owns his own business, so he's doing construction shit, so if he's got a project, like it's tough to balance things, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And like Matt too, like he works out of state, and so we've done a good job of doing it, and the band gets so many cool offers, and everybody in the band is all in on making it happen because we love doing it. But it's really like the age-old story of like, be careful when you're riffing, because it takes you, like, you never know. You write a fucking sick riff, next thing you know, like your ass is playing a whole lot of shows, and if you don't go capitalize on it, there's 50 fucking bands standing at the door that are ready to go. So it's not like a thing that you can. I feel a responsibility too to like serve the people that dig these records. And I feel like because we don't tour full time, there's always a pressure of like, we don't really do small room shows a lot. And so we need to get out doing some headliner things. And it's not because we don't feel like we're big enough or ready to do it. It's literally just, we only tour like 3 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year. And it's hard to say no to going and playing in front of 2,000 people a night to go do your own shows and, play to 200 kids, which I love that too. But it's just like you know what I mean? It's like, it's a balancing act where like, if you're younger and everybody quits their job and don't give a fuck because they have no responsibility, you just constantly tour until you burn it out. And we're at the point where we're like really trying to figure out how to like slot all the puzzle pieces of like, oh, my bro's got this sick fucking job that he's going to be like, Connor's been helping him out. He's been in Colorado like tons this year doing all these like big Walmart projects and shit. And then we're squeezing in like all the band stuff, all the family stuff. It's crazy, man. Yeah,
it's like you said, man, that's like a recurrent theme when I talk to people in bands. It's, it's a different thing to tour when you're more set up in life than it is when you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you got nothing going on except the band, and everybody's like all in and let's go, and the band and like 5 of your friends will jump in the van, you know what I mean, and go out, you know what I mean. But it's a whole different story when later in life when you're more set up.
Like the people that hop in the van with you, it's like they don't give a fuck. Fuck like whatever job. It's like fuck my job. I just put in my notice. I'm going on tour all summer. Yeah. I'll figure it out. But like everybody I run with is all like established, like grown men. So it's a thing where it's like you almost feel guilty a little bit where you're like, fuck. I know it says that it's 25 shows, but with the off days that the headliners have with their buses, and then we'll have to leave Vegas and drive out to like our last tour we left from Baltimore was the last show. Then we drive like 2.5 days to get home,
I'm sorry, that was me. I thought I have my phone off. I don't know how they're getting through. Okay. That's the first time that's happened. 150 episodes. That's the first time that's happened. Did you hear that?
But
phone
like
ring?
You end up adding like to a tour, you add the number of shows you play, and you're like, oh, it's only going to be like a month. And everybody's like, I think I can swing that. And then you add it up and it's like, actually, it's like fucking
6 weeks,
5.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then everybody's looking at their shit like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you, man. There's something I didn't realize. You designed the suits?
These ones, like the artwork, my buddy Andy May, like did the drawings of the Flash.
Oh, okay.
But like the coloring and like going back and forth on the concepts and the style of suits, and then once you have the artwork, then working with the tailors to get them made, and like getting the measurements, going back and forth, and like all of that kind of shit. Like it's that right there is enough, like doing 5 of them suits. If you're like trying to do a creative project, like that's enough. The like headache to where you're like, okay, I accomplished something. But in my world of insanity, that's like the tiniest piece of this fucking machine,
Well, and at least you're in Vegas, where you probably got a tailor that's ready to roll and gets what you're going for.
Yeah, and we're lucky. Like as the band gets bigger too, like people are excited to work with us, and like I just know a lot of people too, that people I respect, that the street goes both ways, where what seems like a crazy idea, there's always somebody that's like, you get stoked off of somebody else getting stoked, you know what I mean? So it makes it easy in that regard.
Yeah. I think too, like one thing I really like about your band, and this is, you didn't say it, but you said it without saying it, is that you guys can kind of tour with anybody in these genres of music. Like you're out with Testament, you're out with Terror, you're out with whoever, a Carcass. Like you can go out with like hardcore bands, you can go out with metal bands, you go out thrash bands, death metal bands, anything. What's it been like? And I know you guys are more established now, but like, so this is kind of just where I'm going with this. Is like, I remember one time one of my friends saw you guys upstate New York. He's like, bro, because I had told him about you guys, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to see him. He goes, bro, it was fucking crazy, because it's a death metal show. And he goes, these guys come out in like sequin cowboy outfits and just fucking destroyed the place. Like, and so like, I know things, it's different times, and, it's not like playing in like the mid 80s where people were a little more wild and whatever, but like, what's been the reception for you guys like through the years? And I know it's probably different now, but like when you first started playing, you coming out, dressed to the hilt, but like just fucking throwing down like fucking heavy shit. Like, were people like stoked, or like people like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it's both, man. Like you get in the States, it's a lot more received easier, quicker, I should say.
Yeah.
Than like through Europe. But it's one of those things where heavy metal has such a history of people doing, costume, theatrical things. So on one hand, people are like, okay, like they're not wearing masks, they're not a mask band, but there's some sort of thing.
Yeah, they're not in corpse paint.
Yeah, and if they have no idea about the because I haven't gotten it to the point where I can fill up the room where we have like stage design and we have like I want to get it to the point like when you go see Amon Amarth, you're like
Yeah.
you're teleported into, you know,
Mhm.
some kind of Norse mythology and there's like this whole stage show. And I want to do like a horror western version. Like, I don't know if you saw like Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie when they did their tour, or like any number of bands that like really put a lot into the
Yeah. No.
shit. You know, I want to go Kiss style. But
Yeah.
when you're doing that and you're a small band from day one, you don't have the luxury of like, there's only so much you can do when you're backlining and motherfuckers refuse to strike drums. So you've got like 3 drum kits on stage, everything's backlined, and you have like, we've played shows with these big metal bands where like I'm just straddling wedges. Like there's a mic stand and it's like you can't even move. So you can't even like move around on stage. So you're just standing there in a suit.
Yeah.
And if somebody walks in to see a death metal band and, you know, they don't get it, like the riffs win them over. Like we
Yeah.
have such a relentless like live show that we get that a lot where people are just like, I don't get whatever this is,
Yeah.
but you guys fucking rip.
Yeah.
And then like when Agnostic Front took us over to Europe, that was pretty early. That was before Death Western had even come out, right? So it was like an older skinhead hardcore crowd
Yeah.
that just wanted to hate us. Like legit just wanted a reason to just be like, this band fucking sucks. And I'm sure some of those old skins don't like heavy shit anyways.
Yeah.
But like with AF, they have such hard stuff in their catalog, like the Eliminator and shit. It's like our riffs and like the lineage of stuff I pull from. Like people hear the Cro-Mags and they hear, you know, Obituary and Slayer and Integrity and Ringworm. Like people that follow this underground shit, like when they hear us live, they hear all these influences and they're like, God damn. Like, so I think it's been easy just because the songs themselves, just if you like heavy music, you probably will enjoy the shit out of a Spirit World show, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, and I guess that's a really good way to explain the music too. Like those songs are like relentless and it's just riff after riff after riff. And sometimes you don't even hear the same riff twice in a song and it just like keeps going and changing but everything's just like it plays off each other.
Like I came up and I still do, like I just came up in the era where it's like my older brothers are listening to like thrash and like the first wave of death metal, and it's like those songs and the aggression and the rawness and like what they were doing, the speed was so mind-blowing. But I was younger than all of them, so when I came up, I'm like, well, yeah, it's tight, but the motherfucker don't hit the groove. And then I'm listening to like Obituary, Pantera, Hatebreed, and like more of the stuff that like were hardcore infused, like just that mid-tempo crush. And so I just kind of combine all my favorite grooves from everything. So a lot of times then when I'm writing songs, like I'll do a fast part and then I'll write like the sickest fast, like Cro-Maggy thing that maybe on their record, they would just do that for 3 minutes and that would be the cool part of the song. And for me, that's like an 18-second blast of coolness just to speed it up so I could break it down into like a 2-step that I want, you know?
Absolutely.
And people just feel that when we play live because it's nowadays too, like with everybody being down-tuned, everybody is so fucking heavy and they all do the same kind of shit. Like just like everything, you know, it's like we play with so many bands that do like they're down-tuned, super heavy and they chug, but it doesn't have a great riff and they're doing like the scrapes and shit. And it's hard for like hard as that stuff gets, but they don't do the riffs that like when I hear a record and I hear like a great like Hanneman riff or like Gary Holt or somebody, like there's certain riffs like where it's the technicality and they're doing rolls and doing shit where it's like, damn, like where it's tasty, you know, where it's got like a sick rhythm. I don't think there's a lot of that. Not as much of that as when I was younger and you could go see like, you know, bands nonstop that had killer fucking riffs like that. Nowadays, I feel like that's kind of, you know, as things change, you know, it's just kind of, I think we stand out that way too. A lot of people hear like the throwback shit that we do. And to me, it's like some of that stuff I've just grown up with, so it doesn't seem like we're doing anything new. But I think to a lot of people, they haven't seen a lot of bands where, they focus on that type of riffing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you got the stage presence, the costumes that really make it stand out. Like, you know what I mean? Because even if people didn't know your name, they're like, who the fuck were those cowboy dudes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it stands out because you don't look the normal thing. Like, if you guys are playing a festival in Europe, motherfuckers were like, who the fuck were they? You know what I mean? I'm sure.
Yeah, and like I always spend the money. Like it costs a fortune, but like, I take this awesome artwork that, I get made up for these records, and when you print that shit and it's like 25 feet by fucking 20 behind you, and even before the band walks out, then we always play Eddie Arnold as our walkout music, and it's just like an old country song.
Yeah.
And from the jump, people are just like, the artwork is so impressive and like unique, that I think that too is a big factor, like the suits and the artwork of the banners. And we play these big ass theaters with these bands where you can really like drop a huge banner.
Yeah.
And before we even come out, people, I think, want to like, people like artwork,
Sure.
They like bands that have cool artwork, and they look at the banner and they're like, that's sick. And then if the band even gives them a reason to sort of like them, I think it's like an easy win,
Yeah. Now, you mentioned graphic novel. Is it going to be done in that kind of same style of artwork, or is it going to be more traditional comic, or like, what are your visions on that?
Like the interior, I'm going to do like a black and white. Like I'm a comic book dork, so like I grew up on that stuff. So I'm going to do like it'll be black and white inside. And then, I mean, the covers, I haven't got that far, but I mean, they may, be full color and shit like that. But yeah, it'll just be, cause I want to, eventually, like I want to get this out and like do like some film stuff with this world. But I think the story lends itself pretty well to like the graphic novel medium, where it'll be cool to like kind of storyboard out some of these shots for a film and really have something where I can show people what this is,
Yeah.
Because it's hard with the records. You have these really sick covers.
Yep.
And like with our music videos, we don't have enough of a budget for me to really be meticulous and like write it and make sure it's in line. So that stuff has kind of been handed off to some friends of mine, and they sort of do their own take on things.
Yep.
So it's like a horror Western, but it's not like the story that's actually happening in these records and these books. And so I just want to actually get this world and this lore out there where people can read it, see it, feel the whole arc of this.
Yeah, man. And it's a thing. It goes hand in hand with the music, with the books. Do you draw, or is it like, do you have someone, you working with someone on that? Are you storyboarding it out and have someone do it?
Yeah. So I'll do all the script writing and write it all out. And then, there'll be an artist that draws it all.
Cool. You mentioned film. I'd be remiss to ask, did you see the Danzig horror Western?
The one that opens with that great shot of that bitch naked on the horse, cruising.
Yeah.
Where they end up in like the horror house or whatever. Yeah.
I was laughing though, because it's just funny, because like that shot's great, but then it goes on for like 8 minutes, and it's like, all right, bro, like we don't get to see,
like
we don't see it in real time.
Just like, yeah. There was a couple things he did in that where like all of a sudden it's like would just start zooming in and then just start getting tighter and tighter, and like just randomly, suck in on somebody. Yeah. They did like a whatever, like not a grand opening, but whatever it is, like when a thing first comes out, right around
premiere or something.
Maybe it was around Psycho Fest or something down here. Yeah, it was a premiere, and for like a couple nights down here at a theater, they showed it. So me and my girl went and got to see it like in the theater. And yeah, I mean, I love B-horror. I love Danzig.
Yeah.
But for like the budget they had, I'm just like, damn, bro.
I know.
Like, Let's go.
I'm like, and that's kind of how I was left with it. I was like, I really was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking awesome. And then I was like, I'm like, dude, Danzig's such a horror guy. I'm like, bro, yeah. I'm like, it felt a little rushed or something, you know, but that's whatever. But yeah, man.
And you know, I love shit like that because, you know, there's people that watch something and they're like, you can go negative and like talk shit, but
Yeah.
I'm always the other way where I like see something like that and I'm just like so inspired because I'm like, all you need is a little elbow grease and a little style, and like that could have fucking ruled. Like that could have been great.
Yeah.
And even like when I write records, like that's the same way I look at bands. Like I'm not a great musician. Like people will tell me like, "Oh, you're a fucking sick ass riff writer." And every once in a while, like I'll have like some guy on the road like fanning out, and they do it to the guitar players because I don't play guitar live.
Yeah.
Like they'll go up to Matt or like Randy or somebody and will be going off about how they love the records and like what sick fucking shit. But like I don't feel that way because I'm like not guitar guy. But by the same token, like I watch a film like that, or even Danzig's he had this comic book line in the 90s, Verotic,
Yep.
that like had all this shit where like doing like, I don't know, Jaguar God, and like Simon Bisley was doing the artwork, and like Death Dealer with these Frazetta covers and like all this sick shit where like, I don't know, like between that guy's bands and everything he does, I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
He's a man, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's put out a body of work for sure. You mentioned being into comics, and yeah, I know you're into horror and stuff. Were you like a horror comic guy? Like it made me think. But I remember a bunch. I used to have like Faust and Death Rattle and stuff like that, and Gore Shriek.
Oh yeah,
you remember
dude,
any of those?
fucking Faust was the shit. Like that was, I was a little younger, but like
Me too. But I remember like I shouldn't have even had those things.
yeah, like Act of the Damned was so fucking ahead of its time and crazy. Like my brother Nick had all those, and yeah, like I love that. I really dug like there was some of the Rebel Studio stuff, like Gunfighters in Hell, and like a lot of indie stuff around that time period is really what made a huge impact on me. Like Poison Elves that Drew Hayes did. And he was like kind of a psychobilly, like punk dude that self-released his own book. And it was kind of like the original pressings were like, kind of like the old Savage Sword of Conan, where they're like magazine size, you know, not like your typical monthly issues. And then he got picked up by like Sirius and like it got bigger, but he like died really early, and they're actually, I think they're on the second one, but they're collecting everything that he did now. Like, I don't know who it is. It's the same company, Sirius, SIRIUS, I think it is the comic book publisher, but putting together these like crazy fucking hardcover editions of like an omnibus of like all the Poison Elves, I Lucifer stuff. That's, anyways, I'm just rambling because I want to buy one of those, but I'm like, fuck, I already bought them all when they came out, and fucking like, I'm not spending $300 for shit I already have. You know?
Do you still have all your stuff, or did you lose it or get rid of it or along the way?
A lot of the comic stuff I gave to my brother, and he's like got it on his shelf at his house.
So you have access to it.
I feel with records where I've collected this shit my whole life, but there was a big time period where I didn't have any place to put it. I'm touring in Folsom. I'm broke, going, you know, like all these things where it's like, I wish I had all the records.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like so many of like my core LPs and 7-inches, like give them to people. And I never really sold shit off like that, you know, like as a collection. But it was always like giving it to some kid where it's like, here, bro, take all these old fucking Revelation records and all this sick shit, all this Victory shit that I had through the years. And now I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. Should have just kept it and packed it around in boxes for.
No, but you did the right thing, man. Because like, you know, we all had the people that were older than us that like put us on. You know what I mean? I remember being a kid, and this kid Steve Mercer, who I haven't seen probably in 30 years, but I remember him giving me like the Negative Approach 7-inch and like the 7-second Skins, Brains and Guts, and I was like, damn, you know, like you gotta pass it on to the next kid, you know, keep the torch going.
Same thing with merch, like being around so long, like I've gone through my closet and just like purged
Yeah.
all of my band merch that maybe it shrunk up a little bit or whatever, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You just fucking purge, and like I've thought about that too. I'm like, damn,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had some hitters. I wish I had all that cotton. You know what I mean?
I know. Who would have thought too, man, that sometimes these old shirts are worth more than records, man. Like, you know, like people.
Dude,
pay
I don't
big
understand
money.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen some things like people have like just linked me shit. And sometimes it's bands I like. Like, I mean, that Humanity is the Devil shirt you got on is sick.
Yeah, yeah.
But like people like send me shit where I'm like, dude, I can't handle this. Like this shit was on Victory, mail order shit.
Yeah.
Like wasn't even limited. It was just printed over and over and over.
Yeah, yeah.
And some motherfuckers paying $300 for some busted down fucking like Strife hoodie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's wild.
get
Yeah. I know my friend Chris. I don't know if you know Chris Casali, but he's kind of. I feel like he's partly responsible for all that because he was doing years ago. He was doing. I forgot the name of the company, but he was so into it. I think he did like some represses and stuff. He was like tracking bands down and buying the old screens from them and stuff. So he has like the screens for a lot of these shirts and craziness. Like, I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
He was super in it. And he had like a whole archive, like a hardcore t-shirt archive and a website for all that stuff, man. But it's wild. Like, I feel like I do got to bust into my father's house. I don't have to bust into, we're good. But I just got to get up in his attic. I know I have a bag of old, like mid to late 80s, like, you know, like original, like Warzone shirts and shit like that I could probably like pay my mortgage for a couple of months.
Yeah, dude, my older brothers had all the sick, like Biohazard, fucking Slayer, Sepultura, like all the shit that would have been popping like late 80s, early 90s, punk, hardcore, metal, death metal, thrash. Like we've had all that shit through the years. And I'm like, man, if any of us knew we could have just kept all of our merch shit, somebody could have bought a house, you know?
Yeah, especially if back then you just bought two and put one away.
Oh my God, like the toy collecting shit, you know? Like any collecting, I've never been able to do it because anything I've bought, I just use.
You want to use,
read, whatever. But yeah, man, same shit where it's like all the G.I. Joes and the Transformers and all that crazy shit. It's like, well, if you would have kept it in the package, man, you could have bought yourself a car. I
had Ray Capo on the show, and he was breaking down like their little fucking deal that they had, like when they would be like, yo, trade us old G.I. Joe stuff and we'll send you like rare records, like a rare Revelation record. And he's like, bro, we just wanted all that shit and like we didn't have money for it. So we're like, we can make a couple of records on gold vinyl and fucking, you know, like it was like such a Ponzi scheme, bro. It was like you were getting like these action figures that were worth like hundreds of bucks, and you like were spending $2 on a 7-inch and sending it to some kid. But those 7 inches are worth a ton of money now too. So if you held on to that, you know, even back then they were worth money. But it's like that's the thing with collecting. It's all in the eye of, you know, the value is all subjective, you know.
Yeah. I trade test presses too, like Spirit World stuff, and like, but usually I do it with like my close circle of friends, and it's always like first edition books, and like it's kind of like their favorite, whatever the most impactful favorite fucking book they have. And so I've got this collection through the years of shit like that my homies have sent me where they like write a note, and it's like, it's cool, man.
Oh, so there's like a personalized note in it as well?
Yeah, like it's a personal gift. Like, here's my favorite book, like in whatever like personal thing. And I do it too, you know, like sending shit out, but it's like the test presses, it's, you know, it's like the label of the plant will do like 30.
Yeah.
And Century Media, I don't know why, like they never printed merch for Spirit World. They didn't give a shit about test presses. So I'm like, give me all of them. And then I'd sell some on our web store and then trade some other ones, and, you know, like the collecting part of it. But they literally cost like $1, $2. But the rarity and being able to for my homies that collect. And I'm lucky that so many people fuck with my band that like the collecting of all of our variants is so crazy. Like I gave up and I have the easiest time getting it because I get frustrated because I may have to like figure out what colors have happened, but I don't have to like go buy it. I just have to like say, send me
this
a couple of these. And even that, like on this last record, I just like, I tapped out. There was a couple like different versions in Europe and shit where people are hitting me up and they're like, dude, where's this fucking whatever color? I'm like,
what?
I gave up. I'm not collecting my own band anymore. It's too much.
Too much.
When I was collecting it early, I didn't realize how many copies of my own shit I'm going to have. And I just, like, I don't listen to Spirit World. I just make the stuff. Like, I can't listen to stuff anymore.
Of course.
So it really is just like, you know, a couple of each one. And I have like fucking 60 copies of fucking these first couple albums. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. What, so it's probably, I'm not going to assume, but I'm sure it's probably through your older brothers and stuff. Like, how did you even find yourself, like, and when did you get into, like, first start getting into, like, heavy music and stuff? Like, what was the trajectory that led you from being a kid to Spirit World?
I didn't really get a ramp up because, like, my parents, I have a twin brother, but they had 6 boys, right?
Yeah,
and so me and my twin were like, not an accident, but like my parents like had their, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe like 19 started having kids, and then they had their 4 kids by the time they were like, I don't know, 28 or whatever, and then waited like another 10 years or whatever, and then had us. So like all of my oldest brother was like, I mean, I don't know, like by the time I was like 6 or 7, he was like in his mid-20s, 20 years older. And so like at the house, because everybody in my family grew up, like my mom grew up on a ranch, all my cousins and shit, like just hillbilly kids, So it's like a lot of rodeo. So it's either country music, like old shit, like old honky tonk and outlaw stuff. And I mean, my mom like George Strait and like Randy Travis and Dwight Yoakam. So I mean, there was definitely like stuff that was like on the radio, played in the house, but most of it was like kind of curated and DJ'd by either like, because my mom and my dad, like they love Merle Haggard and George Jones or Johnny Horton and Johnny Cash, but they don't listen to, I mean, I don't know even what would have been going on in the 80s and 90s, but like whatever like pop country was, like they didn't fuck with that. So it'd be like you're listening to their favorite tapes. And then when that wasn't on, if one of the kids had it, I mean, it was like Slayer, Metallica, Motley Crue, fucking Social Distortion, Misfits. So like as I'm in the house and doing things and start to realize that I like music, naturally those are the things that are being repped and like jammed the hardest. And so I kind of I think like White Zombie, Slayer, Metallica for sure were things that like really stood out to me, that I just like copped a tape and the shit was just so hard, so cool, like something about it I just loved, Yeah. And then on the punk side, I guess 7 Seconds, The Crew. I mean, that's a hardcore band, but to me, like I didn't understand what hardcore was until like probably 10 years after I started listening to like punk music, just because I never ran into anybody until I was like, probably getting into high school. Because I just listened to all this shit because it was just at the house. I didn't know it was like different until I start getting to like 5th, 6th grade. And I'm like, kids in a Megadeth shirt, who I never really got into Megadeth. I just couldn't handle the singing thing,
Dude, I'm so on board with that. 120%. Everyone I know loves Megadeth, and I'm like, Same. I was like, I never liked the vocals. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I've learned to never say never, like,
Yeah.
as I've come up in art, because
Yeah.
there's definitely things that I wasn't ready for at the time that then I
100%.
love it.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting for my Megadeth era.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
It may
5th
come.
grade
Yeah.
me and, like, current state still, I'm
Yeah.
still, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, then that's when I started noticing it was more like a lot of grunge and, like, new metal shit started popping when I was, getting into high school, and, like, I remember, like, somebody had seen Korn, like, on that first record, and, I mean, it's good shit, you know what I mean? Like, I like Korn, but, like, the whole thing of, like, new metal and the rappy metal shit, I wasn't into. I was really into, like, punk bands and shit, and I wanna say it was, like, I definitely saw Sick of It All in, like, '96 or '97, and I had not heard them, I don't think. I'm pretty sure not, and I remember thinking, like, the energy and whatever would have been on that set list at that time where it was, like, Scratch the Surface,
Scratch the
Built to
Surface.
Last, they were touring off of, but then also they're playing, you know, all that old shit like that. I seen them, like, 3 times in the span of, like, 10 months. It was like a Warped Tour set, and I was like, "Wow, that band is incredible." Went and got, like, maybe it was Built to Last had come out or something, because I remember getting that record, and then, like, I was living in Idaho at the time, and there was only a handful of punks, and there was a kid that was like, "Oh, yeah, Sick of It All is fucking great," and gave me maybe Just Look Around or something. So then the next time I seen him, I'd heard, like, I had 2 albums that I was aware of,
Yeah.
and they did this tour where it was like, I think it was the Misfits with, Michael Graves singing. They were doing some kind of 20-year anniversary thing, and I drove up to Boise, and I mean, I kind of forget all this shit because 'cause I'm old,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure Sick of It All played, and then I seen him at, like, another club show in that same time period, and each show was, like, the first 2 were not like a Sick of It All crowd, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just like they were there, and just their intensity and, like, Pete and Lou going the fuck off, I was just like, God, they smoke every band, that literally every single band I've seen live up to this point, I've never seen anybody, like, hammer a stage with that much, like, style and shit, and then I seen them the 3rd time, and it was, like, a hardcore crowd, and it was just, like, it was them and H2O, and everybody singing along, stage dives, whatever, and it was, like, peak. I didn't know it at the time, but that was, like, for me, peak hardcore band with the songs, with the kids at the right time where it's popping,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how rare that was then to, like, be in a room and see, like, the explosion of, like, each song swelling until, like, when the show's done, you're just like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit,"
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
everybody has had this release, and it's just like, the stage is just you can't tell, everyone's singing, but, like, that it was probably, like, Sick of It All, um trying to think, like, my older brother went and saw a bunch of shit, so it was like, he saw, like, Biohazard and, like, maybe they were playing with, like, Slayer or some shit, but, like, all of that, like, it was all, like, New York bands,
Mm.
like, kinda that is what put it on the map of, like, "Oh, well, there's metal, thrash, death metal, I understand," like that. For some reason, that made sense to me that those were different scenes.
Yep.
But then, like, hardcore punk, when I finally realized that hardcore was its own thing, then, like, I was just going to all those shows everywhere, like, relentlessly, don't care who it is, and, I mean, it was just a incredible time where it's like, go see Snapcase, go see Avail, go see fucking Hatebreed, Death Threat, and at that time, like, I was probably booking, like, shows too. Like, I had I always had this, like, thing with not knowing how to do something, but just being stupid enough to say, "Fuck it." Like, booking shows where it's like being like 16, 17 and booking like Dropkick Murphys and booking like shows that were big, like
Yeah.
that had guarantees and shit. And like, I don't even have a job. And I was so poor. Like, I mean, I would save like my $2 lunch money to buy a record every 2 weeks, like legit for years that went on. But at the same time, I'm like lying and being like, yeah, we'll do a door deal. I don't even know what a door deal is,
Yeah.
but I've been
We'll
to this
do it.
club and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I just do it, it'll be sick.
Yeah.
And then you do it and it's sick. And then like I remember like I'd seen Buried Alive a bunch, like because I was working out of town and I booked them. I was in Idaho for some reason. Them and Death Threat were on tour, and when like Vogel and all them dudes showed up, maybe this was like 98, 99, something like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I remember when they rolled up and like it was before like GPS shit. And
Yeah.
there was in Pocatello, Idaho, there was a music store and some friends of mine lived upstairs and it's kind of a squat punk house. And so we do shows and shit up there. And like when all them dudes rolled up, they were like late, like what the fuck? They're like looking for the place because it wasn't an actual address. It was like 924 and a half, but the half was because it was upstairs, but it was like maybe it's South Main Street. I can't remember now, but so they were like on Main Street at the other end of this little town. And Pokey is a small town, you know, like maybe 30,000 people at that time. So I remember when they got there, they were like stressing out. And then Vogel recognized me and like my friend group and was like, oh shit. Like, cause we'd been up front in like a bunch of like record stores and shit in Vegas and Seattle and all over, just like singing along to Buried Alive and Pitting Hard, like that kind of vibe. And so they're like, oh, well, if you guys are doing the show, this is going to be sick.
Yeah.
And I remember like that was a time too where hardcore is such a cool thing where it's like, yeah, maybe there was 50 kids at that show, you know, but the 50 kids that were there, like all of us had the Death Threat record. Like it had been going around like fucking wildfire for like, I don't know. I think you remember that Only the Strong compilation that came out?
Yeah.
Like they had a track on that because I think like probably Mike Hood or somebody, like however it came out, like there was something where like Death Threat was our band, probably like everybody in hardcore at that time. And so like when they play, I mean 50 kids, but fucking 40 of them are singing along to every song off fucking Peace and Security. So it's like, here, take all the money from the show. All of us fucking bought a ton of merch. Like,
yeah, supported. Yeah. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Idaho or were you just out there?
Yeah, I grew up in Vegas. So like my whole family is in Vegas. And then when I was at like junior high, like my parents were going through a tough time and I have a bunch of family in Idaho.
Okay.
And so me and my twin brother, everybody else stayed down here. And like my dad had a business he was trying to keep going. And so me and my mom and my brother, and at different times, one of my brothers like lived with us for a spell. But basically we went up there and like I had a bunch of cousins and my aunt and shit was up there. And so I ended up in Pocatello for like junior high into high school. But then we were always running back and forth to Vegas. So I kind of cut my teeth in the punk scene going to shows. And because there were not shows in Pokey. Like we booked bands once like we figured it out.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, like friends of mine like booked Blink 182 and before like Dude Ranch and shit. But you know, we're like booking what we can. And then like my crew of friends took it over and started booking. But basically we were relegated to like pulling gas money, driving to Salt Lake, going to hardcore shows at like the DV8 basement and like all these venues. Cause they would get a lot at the time, like Salt Lake hardcore was pretty fucking big. So you could like, I mean, drive out there and see like Scarhead and Madball and like a lot of shit that we fucked with would play there. Not everything would go to Boise, but between the two, you know, you could drive a couple hours during the school year and go out there and see a gig and then come down to Vegas. And because my brother had been down here going to shows forever, like that was always cooler where like Vegas had. I don't know. It's just cool, man. All those scenes were cool.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's what's cool about, I think, hardcore is like, you know, when we were kids, like it was a thing like anywhere. Like you know, I would go to shows in Boston, Providence, Connecticut, the Anthrax, to New York. You know, like we all bounced around, especially back then, before pre-internet and stuff. Like if you wanted to be involved, you had to be involved. You had to be there. You couldn't just
yeah.
watch it.
And
So,
you know, so many times, like we drove to shows and then the show would get canceled or
Yeah.
moved or fucking whatever. And like thinking about it now, because there was like a blizzard one time and we fucking manned up through the blizzard and like it was like I-15 fucking heading into Salt Lake, sketchy as fuck.
Yeah.
Almost died. Like, but we get downtown, get to the venue, and the show's fucking canceled. Like going to see Face to Face, this punk band that I fucking love. And for years we've been bumping Face to Face, and I'd only got to see them play like a festival set at like Warped Tour or something. So this was like a headliner off their self-titled record.
Yeah.
And then you get to the show, drove like fucking 3. It should only take 2 hours, but it probably took 3.5 because we're driving like 35, 40, snow blind.
Yeah.
And get out there and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And this is before I had any idea of how bands, like they were just these magical things that would appear in cities.
Yeah.
I didn't know what booking agents, even after I booked shows for years, I had no idea how shit like actually worked, you know?
Yeah.
But at the time you didn't know. You'd see a flyer and that's it.
That's
like,
it.
You just go there.
You didn't have cell phones to be like, hey, is it still going on? You know, you just
and traveling too. Like you don't even know people.
Yeah,
like you know a couple people when you get to the show that you may recognize, but it's not like like here in this day and age. I feel like there's such a community of, even with Spirit World, where there's like these people that are just like this ecosystem around our Instagram and Facebook and shit, where like they talk to each other and there's like a community. And I'm like, I didn't get a cell phone till I was like fucking 25. And like I was in a lot of ways just like you just went to a place and the people you bumped into more often than not like ended up becoming like your circle. You didn't get to pick. You know?
Well, because there wasn't a lot to pick from. Like it was like, you know, it wasn't like now, like where there's like thousands and thousands of kids in the shit, which is cool. Like, but it's different. But yeah, you made me think about when you said the snowstorm shit. Like I remember going to see Sheer Terror once and it was like a massive blizzard and like literally 13 people were at the show. And I was like, but it was one of the best shows ever. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, because everyone went off because it was like, everyone was, fuck, dude, we all made it. Let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Like,
and I've always held on to that, especially playing in bands where, like coming from small scenes that are DIY, that the band is great. Everybody, like the band is killer. It's no reflection on them, but it's a Tuesday night. You book a show, no one comes, and it's like the local bands and maybe 10 people, and you're embarrassed as fuck. But you could just tell there were bands that could show up and they would look and see that the 10 kids that put on the show that love your fucking band, it's important to them that you're there. And then they play the show like they would with 100 kids and they don't give a fuck. Maybe in the van afterwards, you know, I'm sure there's some grumbling, but in that moment in front of the kids, it's on. And like, I always took away from that when I started booking shows, and you start dealing with people that are like more worried about the money aspect and just cunty about stuff. So like I've always kept that vibe because I was one of those kids. Like some of the best shows I've ever seen are bands that played to what should have been a fucking catastrophic failure of their tour, where they're probably getting paid $60 fucking and they had every right to just be fucking pissed and cancel the show. And like, those are some of the shows I remember fondly where I'm just like looking back, I'm like, not only was that band the shit, but they were the shit when there was nothing to be excited about.
Yeah, when they didn't need to be, but that makes it even better. You know what I mean? That makes
and
so
it makes
much more
me
authentic.
like, I've always held my bands to that standard of like that it's important. Like if you're playing first and the room's not full, I don't give a fuck. Like we're going off.
Play like you're headlining. Yeah, play like you're headlining.
Yep. And go out to the merch table and be cool. Like, so that's something like 13 kids. I remember seeing like Turmoil, and maybe there was 25 kids, but like the process of was so fucking hard and good that like it was a year before they came, and I finally got to see them. And like that's one of the bands where I'm like, I mean, 20 kids, they could have been like, fuck it, we'll play 5 songs, stand here, hit the road. And we were like, they ended up playing like the same song like 3 times because kids were just going off so hard, fucking raging. And they're just like, well, we don't know anymore, but fucking whatever, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's 6 Head Bag for the 3rd time, fucking, while kids are like, you know, having fucking on shoulders doing like whatever you call chicken fights, fucking in the pit. Just stupidity, but like, I think that's fun. What separates the punk and the hardcore thing is when you book shows and you play in bands and you go through that kind of stuff, there's such an appreciation for, I don't know, just the kids that show up that need it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because, especially back then, no one was there because they were well-adjusted members of society. You know what I mean? Like everyone was in that room because some kids, everyone went through some shit, right? Because it wasn't cool back then. It wasn't, it was like you had to seek it out. Like you found your way there for a reason.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I feel like it's like that in Vegas with the new stuff. And it's hard for me to connect because I'm like, I also am not comfortable being like a fucking 40-year-old dude. Like I'm not going to go and hang out and be tight with 20-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Like I came up in that scene where that shit was very fucking sketch. Looking back, I'm like, all you fucking scumbags that were like even 25, 30, just like creeping on, like that shit grossed me out then, grosses me out now. And so like I can't really connect to the scene in that way anymore to truly be a part of it. But like the Vegas scene is wild, man. There's motherfuckers from the east side, chicks dressing up like fucking clowns, goths, like wild. Not the shows aren't wild, they're actually more civil than like it was in my day, like the violent aspect of it. Maybe aggressive, like unhinged is tamed down, but the actual freakiness of it, of like people letting their freak flag out and being like, that one-off weirdo punk kid. It reminds me of like being in Idaho where like a kid was not just a punk rocker because they liked the music, they were a fucking freak. And with that, like they took a lot of shit, like it wasn't the easiest thing to, like in a town full of Mormons and
I was just gonna say
redneck assholes.
I'm sure it was hard for us in Boston and stuff, but I'm sure it was even harder in like fucking Idaho, man, because it was
like people fucking don't like that shit. Like even if you try to fit in, people don't like you, fuck with you. And so like all my friends that were like kind of whatever, like on the borderline of like being gay, like standing up for chicks, like what, like that kind of weird shit. Like flying those flags back then when I was in school was like, it wasn't the easy thing to do. Like it took a bit of like, I don't know, courage or like a bit of like moxie to even like be that kind of a punk. So I see that same spirit here where I'm like, that kind of freaky thing is like, I fuck with that. And I'm glad that my band too, like I see it when we play because we are like we have some theatrical elements and whatever vibe we put off. Like when we play shows, we'll have like long hairs, a straight edge kid. We'll have some fucking like freaky looking goth that looks like a total witch right next to some fucking chick all done up like a 50s cowgirl. And so we're starting to like this cult following we have it kind of looks like that. Like it's a small VFW hall punk show, but it's like, it's not like, this is a $40 ticket that I don't know. Those shows they're usually not, the freaks don't go out as much. So I'm happy to be a band that
they come out for.
The freaks come out to, because, like get it.
What I liked about back in the day too is that, there were shows like, down the road, like hardcore shows just became hardcore shows. But the early days when I first started going to shows, they were a lot more mixed bill. So it'd be like a metal band, a punk band, a hardcore band, and the crowd was all of that, and so, it was very interesting. One thing, just as going to shows in Idaho and Boise, did you ever get to see Septic Death? Because I know they were a Boise band and they never.
No, I didn't. Like,
it was a little.
There
too
wasn't
late.
really anybody like. It was more Salt Lake bands that were kind of like Clear and like some bands that like were touring nationally and shit. But there wasn't really anybody that I saw from Vegas either, really, until like Curl Up and Die and Faded Gray started popping. But like, no, there wasn't like really an established band that was like our own. It was all local bands that, like, looking back now, because everybody makes a record now, like most of the bands that were the most important thing to me maybe put out a demo tape or a fucking 7-inch, but like never even couldn't even figure it out to do an LP, which is crazy how much that's changed,
Oh yeah. How did you go about starting Spirit World? Because I know, like like I told you, I discovered you like just heard pagan rhythms, and then I did some, I was like looking you guys up, and then I heard the old stuff on the demo, which was markedly different. Like how did you what was the impetus? Like what made you start Spirit World? And then I'd be remiss to ask, like, what happened in between like the demo and Pagan Rhythms, because of
Yeah.
the ball dropped, like, and it got fucking, got massive, like, and I'm not saying the other stuff isn't good. It just changed. Like, it just got like,
it's so like, I had a band called Folsom that we played in. And so it's like a hardcore band. And like, we did way more than we ever set out to do. Like I just booked a ton of shows down here. And like, I mean, everybody from Integrity to Ringworm, fucking, I don't even know, man. Everybody, Full Blown Chaos, Terror, Death Threat, Champion. So like, I'm booking all these shows. We're playing all these shows. We're going on tour. And then we started kind of, like we started doing like a couple US tours a year. And then we went to Europe a couple times. And then it was kind of like time where it was like every band hits it, where we'd been on the road for like 2 years straight, and you're finally getting like shit's popping, where like we had an offer to go tour with Blood for Blood in Europe, and like I was ready to go, but I was the only one. Like everybody else, it was like my twin brother just had a kid. My brother Nick, that plays in Spirit World, was in Folsom too, but he had 3 kids by then, and he had already stopped touring because he's like, I got to work. Like I can't fucking, and we didn't make any money at those, like, period. It was make enough to get to the next town. That's it. Yeah. But like, I'm touring with like friends of mine that like play in Mongrel now and like still around doing cool bands, but like all of us were broke and just doing it because we loved it. And so like that hung up. And then I had a period of, just like no band, no nothing, like got my career, got all my shit like handled. But that itch of like, I was writing all the Folsom stuff too. But I just like, I guess that void of creativity and art, and I was burnt out on being involved in a scene as far as like where it revolves around my energy or output, and not just like the scene of like I'm booking shows at my spot and like you remove me from that, and then there's a responsibility of like you kind of let the scene die a little bit. But there's also, when you're in a band, like your friends' bands need shows, and so like you're trading shows, and you're just like, it's a lot. And so when I decided I was going to play some music, Matt had moved to Vegas, and we wrote that demo and cut that. I think we did like 7 or 8 songs, went and recorded them, and like they trickled out. We did a demo, then a couple songs, but we played a couple shows, and like the response was crazy. and like tons of kids singing along. And I love those demo songs. Like I really fucked with it and wanted to do like a full length, but I was like, what am I doing? Like, if I do this and it's like a bar band, like that demo stuff was like really rowdy, kind of like wild shit. And I'm like, my friends are all wild. Everybody's fucking 30. Like, you know what I mean? At the age where like partying is no longer fucking a joke. And the people that I'm running with are crazy. And the ones that haven't like fucking lost their mind or got locked up. It's just one of those things where I was like, I want to do a band, but I know I need to get my shit together. And like I had some personal stuff going on. I was like, I'm done fucking drinking. I've never been sober. I'm done with all this shit. The whole partying thing, I'm like, I do not want to be in a band where like it's like that, where it's like nightlife fucking craziness. And that's where that band started, picked up right where Folsom left off, which was always like a crazy fucking insane thing, you know?
Yeah.
Fun and had its time. But so like the reason why everything shifted is I sat down and I was like I wanted to do a full length and do that band, but I was like, I'm gonna get sober. Like, period. Had some personal shit going on. I was just like, it's like for whatever reason, I don't moderate things well. Like my girl's always like, you're so extreme. Even now when like I'm laid back as fuck, but just like I just do things like it's 11 or it's fucking I'm either in or I'm out. And so I sat down and I just realized I took like a kind of a soul searching inventory of like what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, what it adds to my life, and like kind of set some goals, you know? Like I feel like I was just kind of like not happy, not miserable, but just like kind of it's hard to explain, but I just needed something. And so as I'm like getting sober and I'm like, man, I'm going bowling a couple nights a week, but like, yeah, we fucking rip. Like we all bowl, throw fucking rocks. But am I really going because I like bowling? Or am I going because it's like walk in and get like a double and a beer a couple nights a week during the work week? And like all those kind of things where I'm like realizing the monkey on my back, like these kind of tendencies that you pick up, just like, I don't want to be that. And so I realized like all of my social life shit, everybody revolves around like, it's a little toxic. You know what I mean? Like when you start getting to that point and I'm like, well, I'm not going to shows because that triggers me. Like for fucking the last decade, everyone I kick it with, like you show up, sit in the parking lot, everybody's getting fucking lit. You're at the bar, whatever. Don't want to go bowling. And so then I'm sitting here like trying to like figure out like what I want to do. And then I'm playing guitar and it starts out, I'm playing like this country shit that's like fast, cowpunky stuff that's great. But then I'm also like playing the songs that became pagan rhythms. And as I'm doing those, I'm like, man, fuck, I love playing fucking metal. Like this shit rips. And I knew it ripped. That was the thing. I'm like, I didn't have demos. I didn't know how to record anything. But like, I remember telling my brother, I'm like, dude, I'm making a fucking Spirit World metal record and it fucking rips, bro. And then I just sat here and did that and put it out. So that first couple years of like being sober, I mean, I don't know if it's like hippie shit, but I feel like when I think about pagan rhythms and like the start of Spirit World, I feel like that's when it really started, where it's like that's a dude that like has things to say, rhythms in his fucking riff hand, that's like ready to like make some cool shit. And when you go all in and like devote your time to stuff, like it's hard to focus on shit and be creative. And that was like a thing where I was like, I don't know if this band will do anything. It's very hard. And I know like some people like my stuff, and I'll probably have a few people will check my shit out just because I used to be in a band or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also did not promote Spirit World. I never have. Is like I did not promote that to like, oh, the dudes from Folsom
Yeah, you
got a
were
new
like
band.
featured members of Folsom, or yeah.
Yeah, like I just wanted it to be its own thing. But then because I had so much time and I was thinking about this, that's how I kind of put it all together. Where I was like, well, if you're gonna do a band, like Folsom was in the era where people were not making records. So like you couldn't get vinyl. And so that always pissed me off. Like I tried so hard to get a couple of our releases on vinyl. And at the time, every label was like, just, it was a hard no, you know, it's like, no, fuck
CD,
you.
yeah,
We'll do CDs.
yeah.
And so like that was goal number one. I'm like, I'm not doing a 7-inch. I'm not doing a fucking demo. I'm literally going to write a full length, just drop it out of nowhere by myself, put it on wax so that I have that checked off of my bucket list. And then just in the reward of the universe of doing that, then those songs have taken me around the world like 3 times, playing with all my favorite bands. And this band is doing like crazy fucking insane shit, like playing in front of thousands of people, where it's like, just like that show in Kentucky, it's like, it's crazy. Like we're playing, it's like us, Devil Driver, Machine Head. And it's not like we're the local band that's like on the thing that doesn't belong. It's like we're lumped in with like this, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So part of me is just like, it doesn't happen by accident. It's a lot of work, but that's why the shift changed it. And then like, I've kind of been riding that, because when you start playing guitar and you start like getting on one, it's kind of like like I've sort of developed my style a little bit, and it's taken me this new stuff I'm writing. I think I finally melded the two together, where I'm writing some of the best stuff I ever have. But I think when this comes out, it's going to be like there is not another band that sounds like this, or probably ever will sound like this. Like this will be like one of those weird things where it's like that band was doing their thing, you know? Like this will probably be like the self-titled record, because I feel like that's what it is, you know? It's like a band finding its whatever you want to say, like it's.
Well, you could see that too on Eldorado. It started coming out again, you know? So
yeah, and that, like, I remember talking to the label, and like people were saying shit because they're like, ideally, I want to be able to do whatever I want and bounce between concept albums and like country records and whatever. But you also, like I mentioned, when you start dealing with, like, if I give somebody my word that I'm going to do something, like, I also am not the type of person, like, I've swallowed my own craziness enough to not be an egomaniac and be like, what is the best thing for everybody? There's a way to do things where you don't, you know, cut off your fucking arm for no reason. You know what I mean? Like I could have crammed in After Death Western something that would have alienated Century Media, all these new metal fans that we have, and then probably would have sucked for our booking agent too, because it might have made it very difficult for us to do things.
Sure.
So then with Eldorado, I was like writing this record, and I'm like, well, actually, this shit's pretty tight, and I got it kind of flowing together. Like, I think there's a way in which I can do, because originally I didn't think you could mix the two, because I like punk, I like country, I like metal. I'm like, I don't know. I fucking hate when people mix shit that shouldn't be mixed, you know, unless they do it well.
Yeah.
So if you do something and it works, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I'm not like I'm pretty honest with myself. I've written a lot of shit that doesn't work, and then it never even gets out to like my close confidants, because I'm like, this shit sucks. Like, you don't worry about this. Like, you know.
Yeah, you know when to shelve something that you don't.
Yeah, and it's just like some people can't do that. You know, they just feel like it's.
Yeah.
And maybe it's true. Like maybe it's good, but I just feel like it's so. We're in such a unique, cool position to even do this and like do it at the level we're doing it. It's like, I take that very seriously. Like, I'm not going to shit on what I got going on. You know what I mean? Just for the sake of being artsy because I
Yeah.
can, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, cool. So what's coming up? I know you're working on the new record. You got a graphic novel. Like anything else? Any big tours coming up, or you guys still taking some more time off?
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. We're doing we leave November 3rd
Okay.
and do like a 5-week tour with Avatar and Alien Weaponry, which I'm fucking pumped for that because that's like Avatar is a big fucking band that like most of my peeps aren't familiar with them, but that's a band that like is fucking popping, and they are on like the end of the spectrum of like metal that is very theatrical. They still have like heavy shit, but I mean they're fucking like they're like poppy in a way that's it's interesting to me. But like I don't think they take bands out like us very often, and I
Yeah.
don't really know how this happened, but I'm very thankful to like we're playing 1 of 3. The rooms are pretty big, but I just feel like it's gonna be a thing where it's like that crowd has probably never seen a band like us,
Yeah.
like sonically or visually. But I think like where when we go and play with Nails, Terror, Obituary, that crowd, a lot of the core kids probably on some hand sort of know like my old band or my guitar player's old band, and like people there like hear what we're doing and are familiar with like the styles that we present.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity to go play kind of like a festival, you know, when you play to like more of a crowd that like they're not going to see your shirt and like realize like, oh, humanity's a devil,
Yeah.
vocal test. Like it's not that crowd. It's the crowd that like when we go into those integrity worship moments of our set, which that Clevo sound that like I am obsessed with, they probably have never even heard a band fucking do it.
Mm.
And so I think it's gonna allow us to really fucking I think it's gonna be cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like the shows might not be wild with like the people that come out to see us, I'm sure it'll get loose, but it'll probably be a lot of people like just like soaking in this craziness, bobbing their head. But I just feel like having the opportunity to have a band like that put us on and take us where we can play to people that have never heard us or really any of the bands that we're kind of simpatico with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's how you really start. Like I just think it's the best thing you can do for a band. And like you mentioned it where like it's not that we're allowed to play with all these different bands. That is a thing, but part of it is we're not afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And when you put yourself out there and you're willing to go play in front of anybody, then you quickly realize that people love cool bands. And just because they're a death metal dude or a fucking straight edge dude, like you can win them over if your band's tight live. And I
Absolutely.
think that I just remember when like my favorite bands would blow up and they'd start getting on bigger tours with like weirder even when like Hatebreed first blew up and like Soulfly took him out or somebody, and then there's all the Push Pit Bros. And so on one hand, you're like, I wish this was like a hardcore show. But then you see what that does for the bands where it's like Hatebreed is a shit. Like those records should be in every Longhairs collection. You know what I mean? And it's like you can't get it to them. There's not radio, there's not MTV. Like if the bands aren't willing to put themselves out there and go play in front of those crowds. So I feel like Spirit World's at that point where it's like I'm pretty excited for that tour because Alien Weaponry is from like New Zealand, and they're the same thing where like those are younger guys, but like they're a wild fucking band. They're like a 3-piece that fucking thrashes out, but they sing some of their songs in like their what I don't even know what the language is, but like the like when you see the rugby guys doing
Yeah.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hockey shit, whatever that vibe is, their indigenous thing, like they start their set with that, they sing songs in like that language. It's wild.
Yeah.
So like it's a pretty diverse, weird bill,
Yeah.
which is cool because bands don't have to take out like, you know, I'm sure it's sort of a risk for like taking a band like us, but
Yeah.
it's cool. And we're gonna have it's one of those things where it's a challenge. Like you got to defeat the barricade. You got to defeat the energy that's not there because the show is just happening. You're the first band to play,
Yeah.
and then you got to defeat the people looking at our giant banner and our suits that are like, "What in God's name is happening?"
Yeah.
And so like, there's all these like challenges with that kind of a tour, but I think the payoff is like, if you can do it and come out on the other side, your band is better for it because it's like if you can play to 10 people on the floor and then you can play shows like that, you basically can do just about fucking anything, you know? You're
Yeah.
cooking at that point.
And like you said, you win a crowd that would have never been exposed to you over, and you got that many new people that are like checking it, and then they find you, and then they're gonna go down a rabbit hole, and maybe they, you know, like you're now you're an ambassador. You're an ambassador. You know what I mean? And they're gonna
And I'm
they're gonna
proud to
branch
like, if
out.
I could gateway drug it, like I had a friend ask me because like Dwid did a feature on a song for us, and like somebody asked me something, and it was along the lines of like, because like satellite radio plays us a lot, and like we get lumped in with like metal, you know, like popular shit. It's still underground to an extent, but I was just like, I like all of my older brothers were metalheads. Like we started there a long time ago, but like that's how we got into it. If it wasn't for like Pantera and fucking Danzig taking out fucking, you know, like bands, whoever I saw Sick of It All open for, like if you don't find it, you don't find it. And I would be happy for somebody like to get into Spirit World, and maybe the Slayer nods or whatever, loop them in. But if they go fucking pick up Integrity Records, like I'm happy to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, fuck yeah, man. I know I've had you here for a while. Anything else before we wrap up? This has been a great talk, dude. Where can people find you?
No, man, I don't know. I ain't got nothing. We're just like, I'm just busy doing what we do. And I'm stoked that people are around to check out live music. Like every day I feel like I see another like doomsday shit about art and AI and all this shit. And I'm just like, I hear you on the internet. I don't get on it too much, but it's like, go out in the world because the shows are fucking great. And they've been great since COVID lockdowns like stopped.
Yeah.
Like I feel like underground shit is bigger than it ever has been. And live music, and I can tell you like my band, like shit is fucking popping and it's great. Like make art, go out, be a human being, fucking the world is not all that bad. Like there's a lot of fucking badass shit happening, you know?
100%, man. If you just stay on the internet, you think the world is way different than it really is. If you just go out and participate, it's a lot better than like you said, the doom and gloom. That's you pretty much when you're online, you're just doom scrolling. You know what I mean? Because when you go in the world, everything's still good, man. Everything is still good. You know what I mean?
It is. And like the last thing I want to do is just shout out like Roman Candle, Chasm, 1,000 Ways to Die, the dudes in Delta Bombers. Their singer started like if you're into rockabilly, he's out. I think they're on hiatus, but he's touring as CM Wolf, fucking killing it. Like there's a lot of awesome fucking music coming out of Las Vegas. Like stoked. You know what I mean? It's like Of Sulfur, if you're into like deathcore stuff, is great. Molotov Solution put out another record. Like I'm very proud of my city and this underground, and I'm very stoked that so many bands are like, it's very hard to be from here and get out and like do things nationally. You know what I mean? So I'm very pumped that like Chasm's doing the For the Children gig at the fucking Belasco in December. Like that's cool. Like that's a hardcore band from here of like real deal dudes that I love, that like their band sounds like fucking Crowbar. And so getting handpicked to go play one of the big boy hardcore fests, like that shit's tight. you know? And like my band does so much crazy stuff. I'm like, I feel like people assume that we don't like notice what's going on, but like us, the stuff we do in some ways is easier than like a VFW hall band from our scene that like my friends in Black Path that book all the chorus shows, like a band that comes out of that to like get recognition from like the big dogs of the core. Like it's almost harder for them in some strange way. I don't know why that is, but you know, so I just want to shout out the local dudes and ladies that are fucking out there grinding, because I'm proud of them and I think it's sick as fuck.
Absolutely, man. If someone wanted to check out what's up, shout out the website or any of the socials so people could go listen to you. Or grab merch.
Like, we got an Instagram that nobody barely does, at Spirit World Prophet, and we don't have a website, just we got a merch store.
Okay.
Basically, just come to a show. Like we make tunes. We're like fucking real rockers. Like I don't know how to do the if you're looking for community and like cute TikToks, we ain't gonna do it for you. We only bring the lifts and the fucking headbangs, you know.
100%, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm going to shut this off, but I'm not hanging up, so just hold up 1 second. All right, and that's about it for today. So make sure you please, wherever you're listening or watching, give us a like, give us a review, hit subscribe, and share the show with whoever you think might be interested, because in the end, all of those things help us grow, keep more eyes on the show, keep us going and growing. So I appreciate it very much. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/bigtruth. For more information on the podcast or to get some swag, go to bigtruthpodcast.com. Always check out my motorcycle shop, chopperhead.com. If you need artwork, go to tattooflashcollective.com. And if you give me a follow on Instagram at bigtruth, I have a link tree up there, and I have some more affiliates if you need protein and whatnot. Healthy, clean protein. You can get some discounts there from Ancestral Supplements and Equip Foods. And I'm going to be having a link up, an affiliate link up with Christian Yoranov soon, who I'm doing that health work with. He's a longevity and health expert. So I'll have that up soon. More coming down the pipeline. Till next time, love you all. Appreciate it. Keep it locked.